What's up guys, Seth here, back with another video on Marvel Contest Champions, and today I'm going to be going over the first block of the SAGA Showcase Tower, which has just dropped in game. I've done a video already on towers. If you're completely new to this, if you want to learn what towers is, go check out that video first, because there's a lot of baseline of knowledge that you probably want to know first of all. But today I'm going to be going over the Challenge Tower, which has dropped, which is the SAGA Showcase. So I completed block 1 of this today, and I thought I would just go through and show you guys who I used, what I learned, and what you need to know to be able to get through this as well. So if you're not familiar with how towers work, the tower basically dictates what sort of champions you can bring in. So for the class towers, you have to bring in the champions of that specific class. And for the SAGA tower, you have to bring in SAGA champions. So the first block is actually specific not only to SAGA champions, but it's also specific to the Meteor hashtag, which for my roster at least, was particularly annoying because I don't have a whole lot of the Meteor tag champions ranked up. And there's only a total of 24 champions that have the actual hashtag Meteor tag as 7 stars at the moment, 3 of which I don't have. And so doing this block actually became a little bit annoying and tricky. The champions you're going up against aren't particularly high rating, and there are some nodes that are going to help you out. So you will be able to get through it with some lower ranked champions once they're fully ramped up. It's just going to be a bit limiting with what champions you are able to use. So what are the nodes that you're up against in this tower? So unlike the class towers, first of all, in the SAGA tower, you have a 5-minute timer instead, which is going to allow you a bit more time to ramp up your champions too. So there's 2 main ways that you're going to ramp in this fight. You've got the 50,000 points, 50,000 damage node, which means that for the first minute of the fight, there's going to be a protection passive active. And it means it's going to reduce your damage against the defender during that time. Now after that minute, your damage is going to increase. And then after another minute, it's going to increase again. So after that minute, your damage is going to increase a lot. So it means that lower ranked champions are going to be able to deal a lot of damage as well. The other way that you're going to ramp up your damage is with the effect area. So the effect area is basically an area on the fight screen where if you're within that area, you're going to be gaining effects. And the effect for this block is the ramping damage. So if you're in the effect area, every 2.5 seconds, you're going to gain a Vigor passive, which is going to increase all of your damage against the defender. And also once you've got 10 of those Vigor passives, your hits are going to deal a whole lot more damage as well. So if you do find that you're using lower ranked champions, after the 2 minutes of being in the fight, you're ramping up because of that 50,000 points node. And then you've also got 10 of the Vigor charges. You're going to be dealing a lot more damage than you otherwise would be. Another thing that's going to help you ramp up really quickly and stay in that sort of effect area on the screen too is the trap node. And that basically means that if both you and the defender are in the effect area at the same time and you throw a special attack or a striker, they're going to be rooted. So it means that you can throw a special attack and you're not going to be knocking them out of that effect area as well and kind of ruin your ramp. Additionally, if you do end up getting hit around a bit in this fight and losing some health, you have got the beneficial effect point on the far left of the screen too. So basically, if you pass over this effect point, you're going to gain 10% of your max health back, and then it goes on cooldown for 25 seconds, and then you can cycle it again. Other thing to be conscious of, the defender has the parry mastery active, so you've got to be kind of careful with your dash-ins if they're particularly defensive as well. And then there's just some things regarding your striker, so you're going to have 25% increased spirit gain, as well as also starting with 50% of your spirit gauge as well. Apart from that, you've just got a always forward node on there, so the defender can't heal above what they were at previously. This doesn't really do anything in towers. I don't know why this is even in there really, because in towers you're trying to solo every single fight, so there would never be a second fight to regenerate back up into. Don't know why this is there, but you can pretty much just disregard it. And the other thing to be careful of, which is also different from the class towers, is that the 3rd special attack has been activated. So it means that you've got to be careful about how much power you're giving the defender as well. I almost slipped up a couple of times in here. The fights that I went into, they were really defensive and did not want to throw their special attacks. So definitely be conscious of this, because they really don't want to cooperate in this block, unless it's just me, but they did not want to cooperate for me whatsoever. And then you've just also got your standard nodes like your champion boost and your health nodes, which is just ramping up the defender's health as well. Now for rewards from this block as well, what you can expect is you've got the 2 4 to 5 6-star rank up gems for the SAGA champions. You've got 20 of the Tooth and Claw signature stones for SAGA champions too. You got 7,500 Titan shards, which is pretty nice too. You also got a loyalty crystal, which I was actually pretty hyped about because one of the very few 7-star champions I don't have is Vision Arcus, and they're really expensive crystals to get if you're actually putting loyalty into this. If you're someone like me that uses all their loyalty on potions, I basically never buy these crystals. So having access to this is kind of nice. Hopefully I can get vision from that. I guess we'll see in another video. You also get 5 of the refined XP, which is nothing too crazy. And then you get a chunk of tier 4 alpha and 5 valiant crystals as well. So anyway, let's get into the fights. So the first fight that you're up against is Vox. Now for this fight, I decided to use Kushala just because a couple of the other cosmic champions that you're going up against in this block, I thought would be better suited to my other mystic champions. So I reserved them for that fight and I kept Kushala for this fight. Now Kushala is a really good Vox counter. I would say for Vox, if you do decide to use Kushala as well, I would just stick to the special one, to be honest. Because this is a game where you're trying to solo every single fight, any kind of slip up is going to cost you energy, which is just not in abundance. For the SAGA towers, you've got to wait a long time to be able to try again if you do slip up. And Vox, because of his buffs, if you decide with Kushala to stick to the Soul Barb instead, and then you accidentally slip up and get clipped by the special one, you're going to be degenerating a lot. So I think Kushala is a really safe bet with the special one because because she's going to keep those buffs really low. If you do get clipped by a special attack accidentally, it means that you're not going to take a huge amount of damage. And overall, she's a great counter outside of that. Vox, his fairly straightforward abilities. He's got fairly straightforward special attacks to dodge and avoid. The special 2 is a hell of a lot easier to avoid if you haven't fought him much in the past. But overall, she clears it out really, really quickly and really, really easily. And I don't think it's anything too crazy for this first fight at least. Now, the second fight of this block is against Hawkeye. And Hawkeye is a very basic defender. I think anyone you've got left over in planning out this block is probably going to be able to take Hawkeye. For me, that was Toad. He was just one of the champions that I had that still had a decent bit of challenge rating and was also part of the hashtag Meteor group. So Hawkeye, as I said, very, very standard fight. His special attacks are fairly easy to avoid. If you do slip up, it can be a bit punishing with the bleed as well, but overall it's nothing too crazy. But this fight, as I said, the nodes for this one are fairly straightforward. Hawkeye doesn't bring any other complicating factors into this. I was incredibly disappointed with Toad's performance. I haven't really played around with Toad much since he became like a chase champion and he was buffed again, and I don't think I'm going to be playing around with him anymore because this fight took so long with Toad. I don't know if just the rotation that I'm doing was wrong. I don't know. I don't really know much about him, but overall the damage was just not it. I think this was like one of my longest fights in the whole block was against a Hawkeye. So really not a good showcase for Toad. He got the fight done, so I can't really diss him too much because he got the job done regardless. Third fight in this block is against Silver Surfer, and for this one I brought in Mojo. So I thought Mojo would be a good option for this fight because Silver Surfer gains a fair few buffs. I had a hard time with this fight though. Silver Surfer was so defensive that he just did not want to throw a special 2. I got pinned against the wall at one point with him nearly having 3 bars of power. He was just throwing heavy attacks. I couldn't get an opening. I couldn't bait a special attack. It just really was not going well. I still soloed the fight, but there were some moments where it was a little bit sketchy. Silver Surfer, I would say if you can, stick to the special 1 just because it's much easier to avoid because you don't have to get back as far across the screen as you do with his special 2, but also it's a pretty light hit. So if you do get clipped by the special 1, it's going to be doing nowhere near as much damage as the special 2. This fight was an absolute pain. I don't know why he just did not want to cooperate. Mojo, I could not get into a good cycle with him because of how little Silver Surfer was cooperating as well. He kept pushing me out of the box, so I didn't really gain much vigor as well. And just how much the defender did not want to throw the special attack was so infuriating. Hopefully you don't get the AI performance that I did because Mojo, I think, is a really good option for the fight. I think he's going to be fine for it. Nothing against Mojo, nothing against him as a counter for Silver Surfer. The AI just did not want to cooperate whatsoever, but we still got through it, doesn't matter, and we got to move on to the next fight. Now the fourth fight in this block is against Night Thrasher, and I brought in my Storm Pyramid X. Night Thrasher is a defender that you really just don't see because he's not a 7-star, you never see him in Alliance War, you rarely see him in questing, and so I kind of forgot how to fight Night Thrasher. I did slip up a couple of times in this fight because Night Thrasher does have a pretty annoying special 1 animation. It's kind of similar to Future Ant-Man where he has a projectile, but it's a lot slower than you would expect it to move, so it meant that I would be trying to dex it and just the timing was a little bit off. So I think I got clipped a couple of times, no problem. Pyramid X still cleaned it up fine. Her damage is a lot better. I'm definitely not a proficient Storm Pyramid X player yet, but her damage is way, way better than it used to be. Her buff was really, really good, so she's a really high damage option now, and she can definitely perform above what her challenge rating might indicate as well. And in a fight like this, where you're ramping up damage regardless, she's always going to be able to clear these fights anyway, and this fight was no exception. So Night Thrasher went down without too much trouble. I would just say stick to the special 2 if you can, because the animation for that one is a lot easier to dodge than the special 1, and then you get to avoid having to dash back constantly and removing yourself from that effect area with the special 1. So I would say stick to the special 2, but outside of that, his abilities don't really feed into the nodes at all. It's just about getting someone who can do a decent amount of damage to get him down as well. So the fifth fight in this block is against Cersei, and I brought in Absorbing Man. So Cersei overall is a pretty annoying defender, regardless of where she's placed. Because of her glancing ability, she's got kind of annoying special attacks to dodge as well, where it's similar kind of thing where the animation just feels a little bit slower than it should. In any kind of content, she's a bit of a pain to get through. Absorbing Man is normally a pretty decent counter for her as well, but again, I just had an AI that just did not want to cooperate. So I wasn't able to get into a proper cycle with Absorbing Man. Luckily, he's decently tanky, so I can take a fair few blocked hits. You can take a couple of accidental slip-ups and special ones to the face as well from Cersei too. But Absorbing Man's kit, when she's not glancing, if you're able to place some of those vulnerability passives onto Cersei from Absorbing Man's ramp as well, he's going to be dealing a hell of a lot of damage against her too. Outside of the glancing ability, she's going to go down really, really quickly, and I think Absorbing Man's probably pretty solid for that as an option too, just because once you've got some of those vulnerabilities against her, he's going to be doing so much damage in between those glancing abilities being up. So if you need to allocate your other buff control champions to other fights like I did, then Absorbing Man is definitely an option to be able to clear this one up. And overall, she went down without much issue. It's just about playing around those special attacks and playing around that glancing and being conscious of your combos with Absorbing Man, because you don't want to accidentally try to place your vulnerabilities when she's glancing, or they won't place and you'll just lose all your charges for nothing. But if you can get into the proper rotation, build up your charges, go through your special attacks, attacks, drop the vulnerabilities onto Cersei when she's not glancing, and then outside of the glancing time, she's just going to be taking a hell of a lot of damage from Absorbing Man. So definitely a good option for her, would recommend. And Absorbing Man is another one of those champions that can hit a fair bit above his challenge rating too. So if you haven't got him ranked up, or maybe you're even using a maxed out 6-star version, he might be able to even do it under that too. Obviously for this, I only tried 7-star versions of all the champions. You can't go back in and rerun the blocks, so I can't even do any testing with 6-star champions. But if that's all you've got, then you might have to just give it a shot and hope for the best. Now the 6th fight of this block is against M'Baku, and I used Storm, the new buffed version of Storm. I guess not newly buffed anymore, but which has been buffed. M'Baku is one of those champions which is fairly new still, and I haven't really done many fights against him, so I'm not completely around the abilities at the moment. The only thing that I really learned is that the special 2 attack is very easy to avoid. He has got some unstoppable abilities on his dash, so if he's got a Fury active, then he's going to gain an unstoppable when he's dashing forward, which did mess me up a couple of times too, so be careful of that as well. With some smart playing around it though, with some throwing special attacks at the opportune time to be a bit of a time waste to wait for that unstoppable to come down, or throwing a striker just to be able to get out of hitting range as well, I was able to get through this fight fine. Storm does so much damage now that she kind of makes this fight fairly easy too. The only really playstyle I'd recommend for Storm is parrying and using your heavy attack to kind of keep him inside of the effect area, because when you parry in your heavy attack, you're going to also be pausing your prowesses, so you can kind of delay your prowesses from expiring to wait for your ramp to be fully done. So you can wait for all of the vigors to come onto you, you can wait for the protection to drop off of M'Baku, and then you can throw those special attacks to unleash all of the high damage once that wounded passive is on him as well. So outside of that, this fight was fairly straightforward. I would just say, if you're not familiar with M'Baku, don't do what I did and just jump straight in. Go to a practice fight, see what his special attacks are like, and then come back in like an absolute M'Baku professional and smash this fight so you can move on to the next round. Now the 7th fight in this block is against Nova, and I took in my Spider-Man Pav. So Pav is a good option for this fight. I would say he's a fine Nova counter. He doesn't really have anything around the auto block, but outside of that, he's fairly fine. I mean, as a Mystic champion, he's pretty much going to counter most Cosmic champions. The only issue is with Pav is that you've got kind of your own area of the screen you're trying to keep the defender in, and that's where you're trying to, parry and heavy attack to push him into the little trap node, which is going to power steal the defender and build up the charges so that you can unlock all that damage in a special 2. The issue with this fight is that you're kind of having to make the choice between keeping him on Pav's node and keeping him in the effect area through the node. I would say keeping him in the node affected area is going to ramp up your damage a lot more than it would playing Pav how you typically would. Obviously, if you're having to dodge special attacks, you might end up pulling Nova back through Pav's ability node as well, so you can put some more buffs on him that way to be able to unleash the special 2. But overall, I would just say play it as if you weren't focusing on Pav's kit. Just play it like you're trying to keep him in the effect area, and then maybe every now and then you can take advantage of Pav's abilities by passing through that when he's throwing a special attack. Pav's damage is pretty crazy for this fight, especially with ramping up through the Vigor node as well as ramping up with your abilities. You're going to be able to get some pretty hard hitting special 2s, and his basic attacks are also pretty hard hitting as well. So when you're ramping up those abilities through the nodes instead of his actual ramp, then I think you're going to have a lot more success through getting through this fight. So Nova went down without too much issue. I would just say stick to his special 1 because it's a hell of a lot easier to avoid. The special 2 can be a bit iffy. You're going to take a lot of block damage even if you can't evade it, and if you get clipped by it, you're probably going to be dead. So avoid that, focus on the special 1, get used to dodging that, keep him in the effect area, and then that's pretty much it. Now the 8th fight in this block is against Misty Knight, and I took in my Wolverine X23. My only recommendation for this fight is to learn how to use X23 before going in. I remember when X23 got buffed and I played around with her for a bit and I tested out her new mechanic of the rapid hitting that she does, and I really liked it. And then I didn't play her for months, and then I forgot what that ability looked like. And so then when I went into this fight, I thought, yeah, I'll remember it on the fly. And I did not. I completely forgot what all the controls were. I completely forgot how to get that ramp and keep that ramp. I think I lost the full ramp 2 or 3 times without actually activating her rapid damage ability. So definitely have a look at a bit of a guide at Wolverine X23 if you're not familiar with how to use her. Pretty much what she does, she builds up her charges, and then by using a light attack at the end of your combo, once you're past a certain threshold, you're going to be doing rapid damage and rapid hits against the defender if you're only using light attacks. I was using medium attacks, I was trying to use heavy, I was just doing all of the things wrong, so definitely learn how to use her first. If you want to see a guide about her, let me know, I might make one eventually too. This fight was definitely a little bit sketchy. Luckily Misty Knight cooperates, so her special 1 is fairly easy to dodge. I didn't really get punished too much for not knowing the abilities. I was able to get through this fight fairly easy after I understood what I had to do and got a little bit of the damage potential in there towards the end. Because of this ramping node and because of the effect area node, even if you're not really 100% sure how to play champions, you're going to be able to get through them realistically be pretty fine, as long as you can dodge the special attacks and survive long enough to be able to get up to that full ramp too. Now the 9th fight in this block, the second last one, is against Scream, and this one was easy peasy lemon squeezy because I brought in the new buffed version of Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, for these effect area kind of nodes, is cracked. He is so good because the whole idea is that you're trying to stay in these effect areas for as long as possible to be able to gain all your vigor charges and build up your ramp really quickly. And Doctor Strange does that so well because of his built-in stun ability on his heavy attack. Doctor Strange in general is a great counter to any cosmic champions. He counters Scream really well, shuts down her buffs really quickly. I don't think I got auto-blocked this entire fight with going through it with Doctor Strange. You can pretty much just cycle the heavy stun, keep her within that effect area, build up your charges, build up your ramp, and then throw off your special attacks. With Doctor Strange, if you're not familiar, you want to use your special 2s to ramp up a little bit, and then use your special 1s for the main bit of damage. And if you're in the middle of your heavy stun cycle, so you're in the middle of a combo, you hold your heavy attack to stun them. If you also, with your other finger, double tap the block, you're going to drain your own power by 1 bar. So if you find that you get pushed to a special 3, that's okay. Just be in your stun phase, double tap the block, and you're going to drop down to a special 2, so you can deal all your damage off of that and keep that ramp going as well. So this fight, super easy option. I think Doctor Strange was the best option for this one as well, just because looking at other cosmic fights that I've done, I think Doctor Strange probably fit best for the Scream fight, just because she gains a fair few more buffs than other cosmic champions do, and I'm a little bit less experienced against Scream than other champions as well. But overall, this fight got cleaned up really quickly. I think I left it with pretty much all of my health left over. Doctor Strange probably was the best matchup I had in this block. And then the last fight, the big final fight in this one, is Korg. And so for Korg, I brought in Kitty Pryde. I think out of my roster, Kitty Pryde was the choice for Korg. I think she was the best option. I just was not having a good time in this fight. Korg was just not cooperating. He was throwing special attacks at inopportune times. My timing on the special 1 was a little bit off as well. I hadn't warmed up properly for the day. And then I was also just getting a bit unlucky with the AI. They weren't really wanting to cooperate. Wasn't wanting to cooperate with me going for a lot of intercepts with Kitty Pryde. But once I got some Incinerates cooking, got her abilities ramped up a little bit, and got some prowesses up, he went down relatively easy as well. Kitty Pryde's abilities also kind of help in keeping into the effect area as well, just because you can pretty much without worry dash back intercept pretty regularly, because even if Korg accidentally goes unstoppable, unblockable, you're going to be glancing to Korg, so he's going to miss you if he does accidentally go to clip you. You can kind of be a little bit more aggressive in this fight with Kitty. If you do mess up, you're not going to be taking any damage with Kitty if you're in your glancing mode as well, if you're in the middle of an intercept. And as much as he didn't want to cooperate, as much as the ramp with Kitty was a little bit slower than it would have been otherwise if he did cooperate, but outside of that, Korg went down relatively easy. Standard kind of Korg fight. If you're familiar with fighting Korg, there's not really much in this fight that's going to make it more complicated than other Korg fights. It just means that you're going to have access to a bit more ramp with champions that maybe don't have it. So if you're not using Kitty, if you're not using a hard-hitting champion, you're going to be able to build them up a decent bit just based off of those effect areas as well. And that was it. That was block 1 done. So we've claimed all the rewards now. I'm now into block 2. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to be doing it soon, and I'll put out another video once I do that. I think block 1, as the introductory one, was fairly standard. The nodes really didn't feed into the champion's abilities much. The champion fights were fairly easy. There wasn't any defenders that were too complicated. Korg was a bit of a pain, but outside of that, they were fairly easy special attacks to evade and abilities to counter. I have heard though that the block 2 gets a lot more complicated nodes, and the abilities feed into those nodes a lot more. So I think I can't be as sloppy as I was in this one. This one I kind of just thought looked relatively easy, and then I just messed up a whole bunch. But other than that, guys, I'll be back with the block 2 and 3 content once I've done those rounds as well. And if you want to see those videos or you got any questions about this one, make sure you leave a comment below. Leave a like and hit subscribe so I know you're enjoying these videos and are getting something from them as well. And that's about it, guys. That's all I've got to go over today. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.